God Friended Me, Season 1, Episode 7, The Prodigal Son. Happy are those whose transgressions are forgiven. Amen? Let's get right into it right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Okay.
This is my G.
Hey. This is such a perfect episode for this song because we are family and we learned so much about family. Today's episode of The Prodigal Son, which was absolutely amazing. So before, we're going to be talking reckless extravagance, is love enough, and coming full circle. Then we have our special segment, God Speaks, where we find little bits and nuggets from the internet that have been something where God has spoken to us. And we've got fan shout outs, so we want you guys to stick around. But before we get into this whole party, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm your host, Jaimi Alexander, and to my left.
Hey everyone, I'm Mina Wahab.
And I am Rochelle, and to my left.
Your favorite Afro-Latina, Franceli.
Welcome, Franceli. So we have somebody new on the panel today.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. Both of you guys are pretty fresh, but you're brand new today.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. So what did you think about the episode overall? Let's start with you. Did you enjoy the show? What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, I love God Friended Me, so thank y'all for having me, because I'm like, oh, you don't know. Like, for the pilot, I had, like, a watch party with my friends, and we had a whole, like, discussion about, like, God and how we felt about it. So for me, like, I've always enjoyed the show, and I always enjoy the themes and how real it is about how families keep secrets, and, you know, the church is a hospital, and so you're not always going to get all the prettiness, but I like that it's not your typical like bashing the church show. Like it's like they gave us a window this episode on like some tricky things that can happen in the church. Like embezzling money is a thing that a lot of people get tricky about, especially when they think about that tithes and offering time. But again, they did it in a way that was like, this is human and people make mistakes and there is room for kind of coming back, that full circle moment. Like everyone deserves redemption. So I loved tonight's episode.
Yeah, what about you?
Absolutely. I love the part where she and her mother and her father, as in she, we were talking about Cara. Yes, Cara. I really enjoyed that because we look at her, we respect her. Right. You think her and Myles are just so mature, but they both got a little immature this episode. So it was really cool to kind of stop them in their track and let them see that people are human, and I'm all for that. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, like from a writing perspective, the direction the writers chose to take it with having the person that Myles is helping be a family member as opposed to a totally random stranger with no connection. So I really liked that aspect of it, tying it back together with family.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw so much when it came to forgiveness overall in this episode. Forgiveness in relationships is something that stood out so much for me. Just seeing how everyone was able to mend their relationships to the best of their ability and how they went through that is something we're going to jump right into. So why don't we go with our first topic, reckless extravagance. And we chose that because if you think about the prodigal son in the Bible, that was his parable. The prodigal son was recklessly extravagant, and you know, his father had wealth and he gave him a certain amount and he went and squandered it all, then came begging back. So there's this whole thing, which I totally get that vibe from who up in here? Mr. Terrence? Uncle, what are we doing? Can we talk about this?
Did I or did I not call it, ladies?
You did.
I just want to go let the record be read well.
You did.
That while we were watching, I said, Uncle T is taking the church's money.
she hit it on the ball, I'm gonna say.
You know, but it's just everything about the way he was moving, you know, was like, And here's the thing. When you are so desperate for something and you're willing to do anything, including, you know, put your morals on the line, your integrity on the line, your marriage on the line, your family on the line, you know, you're willing to do anything. And like Cara said, that quote where she said, what's worse than taking the church's money? It's like the fact that you would stoop that low to steal the church's money, you're at a very, very dark place.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. What did you guys think about the reckless extravagance that he displayed?
I honestly looked at it and admired. Just for the fact that men have a way of always putting themselves first. Women are so caring, and we're like, think of you, think of you. But through this season I am in right now, I'm looking at him like, I need to get like that. You know what? Because at the end of the day, he was like, I could get Leena back. I need to think like that. You know, I mean, to a certain extent, but I just love the fact that he figured, like, he put himself first. At the end of the day, it was about him. And it's not always good to be selfish, but you should put yourself first. It was something that he was willing to die for. He needed to leave something. He needed to leave his legacy. This building was for everything. Fortunately, it didn't work out like that in his case. But I just admired him putting himself first.
I appreciate your perspective. Right. I didn't quite look at it like that, but I'm not really that mad at it. So
I mean, I agree. You should wake up every morning and have a purpose and something you're willing to die for, something you're willing to live for, as long as you're not, you know, bringing everyone down with you in the process.
Right. Well, you look at it that way.
And that's why it's very reckless. What did you think about his behavior, and what did you find in that?
I don't know if I could completely categorize it as an addiction, and the only reason I say that is because in some aspects he does have that, like, gambling mindset, like, oh, I can win it back, oh, I can win it back. But it's a little different because he's actually putting the money towards something that he thinks is going to be a big deal in the community. It's gonna change. It's his way of leaving a mark or leaving his legacy. And I think a lot of people, especially men, are worried about their own mortality. Like, who is going to remember me when I pass? What is the mark I'm going to make? I don't want to die and have no one think of me. Whereas I think a lot of times, and this is a huge generalization, but I think with us women, we're kind of like, well, I want to impact my family and the people I love and be in love and, like, make an impact at a local level. But I think a lot of times guys are like, what's my mark going to be? I want to be Julius Caesar. I want to be the president. I want to, like, leave a mark in that way. Where it's like, for me, I want to leave a mark as well, but I care more about the people I affect directly. And I don't think he came from a bad place at all. I think it's really easy to see his actions as selfish, but I can't see them as 100% selfish when he is 99% sure he's going to get the money back, and he really is seeing it as a loan. He's not viewing it as stealing money. He's legitimately seeing it as, I can't get a loan from the bank. I'm going to borrow this. I'm going to put it back before anyone notices. In our eyes, obviously that's stealing. In his eyes, it's like, I'm going to borrow in secret because I'm too embarrassed to ask. So I think intention is what's important. I think it's easy to judge someone on the action alone, but the whole concept of religion, what are your intentions? And I know they always say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but I think intention does matter a lot of the time.
Well, the good book says pride before the fall. So if he had all this pride, like, had it not been for his pride of, like, really being open and honest about his situation and what was going on,
absolutely,
things could have been dealt with way before it got this worse.
Absolutely.
So his pride led to the fall of everything.
Absolutely. And then we don't want to forget, so there was a moment when we were discussing, and I categorized his behavior as addictive, which it looked like to me. I have experience with that, and it's just kind of the only thing I found wrong with his intention is that in the show he had already taken money from the church, and he had already said he wouldn't do it again. It was already a red flag. No, don't do it. So intentions or not, that is not a foundation where you can actually build something of worth or value if it comes from a different kind of place. So that's something that I hope he sees and learns, especially he's in the construction business. Like, the foundation is all, that's something that's very much a part of his business, and it's everything. So he just seems to be somebody who's building things on rocky ground. However, in this episode, we're seeing how, okay, like, did you learn your lesson this time? I think you did, because sometimes we do need to let go of our dreams so we can lay hold of the larger dream that's available for us. But when we got to pick and scam and get so involved where we're doing all the work, that's why God was like, let me hit Myles up and get him involved. God was like, let me,
Right.
So do you want to share something with us a little before we go?
No, I'm just going to say, I mean, what Mina said was absolutely correct. His intentions weren't wrong at all, but how he went about it was absolutely, like, thank God for forgiveness, thank God for grace, because if someone was to steal some money from you, I really don't know how I'm going to react to you, honestly, because you don't know what I need that money for. And he jeopardized so much. Like, he jeopardized jail, you jeopardized your brother's how they looked at him, all of that good stuff. So what he did was absolutely foul. I'm happy that they were able to come together and come up with a better plan, and thankfully the congregation was so forgiving. But what he did was absolutely wrong. But like I said, I mean, I wish him the best of luck. I mean, I in a way, the good in me hope he get Leena back. The bad in me is like, Leena, put yourself first like you always do. How about that? But
Well,
I like how we're so quick to jump on him though. What about Myles for breaching trust in a way
yes, girl.
and actually looking into his financial
that was
situation?
not okay.
Like, what if, I mean, yeah, obviously he got the information he needed, but no one talks about that. And no one, and this is the part that I'm completely dumbfounded by. He never questioned how Myles knew. He never once said, "How did you know that I did that?"
When you caught out,
you know,
that's already the past. I don't even want to know.
But most men will try to be like, "Oh, how did you find out? Like, how can I ever trust you if you're going through my phone to find out that I'm cheating?" Like most people, like
pitying him.
Gaslight.
But thankfully, he was just truthful about the situation.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But I admire that in Myles because he didn't treat this like any other case. They done bugged people. They're breaking firewalls. They're by any means necessary. They're doing what God asked. So I'm not mad at Myles for showing up, uncle or not. What you doing?
But what I thought was important about that too is just the way how people put people on a pedestal.
Yes.
And when it comes to religion, because that's how I stepped away from religion, I found out some things about my old pastor, and I removed myself from the church because instead of me worrying about God and church and all that good value, I was worried. I love her. I love this, everything that she had going. So when she fell, I fell with her, and that's broke. My foundation was all wrong.
There you go.
So I thought that was really awesome for Myles because Myles, maybe his foundation with God has been broken because he took away his mom. But then he put his God into Terrence, Uncle T. That's all he knew. That's all he cared about.
Point.
And it was awesome that Uncle T showed that he was just human too.
Right.
So I think now maybe I don't know how it's going to end with him and his religion and all that good stuff. But I thought that was really awesome to put the person he put on the pedestal.
I feel like my life is so full circle right now because everything you're talking about right now is literally what I just listened to about a podcast about Islam, which does have things in common with Christianity, and the fact that when you idolize a person, that's your downfall.
No, I don't.
Versus when you put God first, you don't have anyone that you have to impress, any like superficial. You don't have anything that you have to do. You're just supposed to be great in the eyes of God.
Come on now.
No one else.
So well, we want to be great in the eyes of all of you AfterBuzzers. So.
Yes.
Please just let them know how they can do that.
My AfterBuzzers. Yes. So our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TVs, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. This network is just works so hard to serve television fans. But we need your help. We are asking if you guys can please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that is tailor-made for you, and you will help us little AfterBuzzers continue to grow. And if you are worried about pesky notifications, because we don't like that, don't be, because they are optional. So hit the subscribe button right now for any of our channels. Check out any of our AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know that you did so in the comments so we can thank you on air. But for now, thank you guys for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Woo. And we want to make sure you stick to the end of this because we're going to have a God Speaks segment where we found something on social media that was a way that God can speak to us. And we also have a fan shout out. But before we do all that, let's go into our second topic. Is love enough? Because I know for me, when we all had a moment we were like,
let me check the credits.
Oh, Miss Leena. Auntie Leena.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this so long, so hard. This is a conversation topic that surprisingly has come up so many times in my life where I don't think love is enough. And I think most people think love is enough. I definitely don't, because you can love someone and that person can be toxic for you. You can love someone and that person could just be a terrible match for you. So it's not just about love, it's about shared values.
Yes.
And more important than love is respect. Which I think most people don't necessarily understand, because if you have respect, you have a solid foundation for a relationship. Once the respect is gone, even if the love is there, you don't have a functioning dynamic because there has to be the respect there. There's so many other elements that come into play, and sometimes love really isn't enough. Like, you can have someone you love so much and it still doesn't work out because of circumstance, and you have to let them go.
Well, Franceli, what were you going to say?
I agree with everything you're saying. Yes, and I also feel like it also depends on what your perspective of love is. I think that when you come from brokenness and dysfunction, what you believe love to look like versus what love is, God is love. And so in my personal life, when I started shifting to seeing love to be defined by God instead of what I saw growing up, instead of what TV perceived it to be, instead of what other people told me or what this guy manipulated me to think what love looks like. Love is loyalty. Love is standing by something that's not for you. When I read 2 Corinthians that tells you love is kind, love is patient, and you look at those things, then you start kind of having a different barometer on what love is. And for me, to a certain degree, love is a choice. And Leena had some choices to make in this episode in terms of, do I want to choose to love you through this dysfunction? Or do I want to choose to love me more than what this road is taking me down? So I think love is enough in a particular way. She loved herself enough and loved him enough to hopefully say, if I walk away, either that'll bring him out of the darkness or at least it brings me out of the darkness, which is honoring the God in me, and that's honoring love, and that's enough.
And the God in him, because when we hold on to people and allow their behaviors to just...
It's enabling.
You already went to the church and took money and you want to do it. Like, Leena's like, dude, I'm not doing this. So you're going to come into the light with me.
On now.
And that is love as well.
Yes.
So in that perspective, I totally understand.
That is the most interesting, mind-blowing perspective. I love that.
You know, I didn't get to go to church today, so
we got church right here.
I just felt really bad for Leena.
Yeah.
I think I just pray to God, whoever God leads me to and who I'm married to, that he doesn't put me second base like that. Yeah, you got to put yourself first, but for him to say, I'm going to do this construction right now and get my tape off the seat, and then I'm going to go get Leena. I'm like, if I was Leena, a bug on a wall, I would be like,
oh, right.
So when you get all this money, who you gonna be laying up next to? Because I'm not gonna be there. That's not okay. I don't want to feel replaceable. So in that situation,
absolutely,
it was just his actions. You know, like she probably loved him, and she probably still do. I don't know what she did after Myles talked to her. They didn't bring her back, so I'm real curious on what she said or did. I guess she just gave the information about the shark guy, but that was just a little sad for me to see him treat her second.
Yeah, it definitely was a sad situation, and I guess we'll see what Leena decided to do if that happens to come up. So maybe we'll breeze by that when we talk predictions. But before we get out of here, I want to talk about coming full circle, which is our third topic, and we were feeling that because it was really touching what happened with Reverend Finer sharing that Terrence was kind of the person who got him over the hump when his wife died by being in church, being that smiling person, being there and solid. And then when he couldn't make it because he was getting Leena back, we got Myles in church, y'all. We got the millennial atheist in the pews.
The millennial
what you guys
prophet.
think about that?
The millennial prophet.
Yeah, the millennial prophet.
It was such a moment for me. I was throwing chairs. I was going to run a lap across the church. You don't understand. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, low key, this father has always looked to that chair hoping his son would be there since the pilot, remember? And so it was such a full circle moment. And we didn't know that gem of the brother replacing the son after the mom died. It was like, my son no longer comes to church, but my brother-in-law stepped in to like give me strength. And so when the brother-in-law couldn't be there, Myles stepped in. It's just such a beautiful, again, road to redemption that we all have moments where we can come back to ourselves.
And adding to what you were saying as well, how the show is not like, oh my goodness, so the basic church and da-da-da-da. I don't know what possessed him to come to church, but I love the fact that he did it for his father, not like, oh, Jesus touched me. You know, I'm not saying I would be here for that. You know, I totally would be, but I love that it still gave it a different perspective. Like, he came to support, he came to be a replacement, he came to support Uncle T, he came to surprise them, and he may still be a little curious because we still don't know who's behind his God account.
And you know what was beautiful about that support is that what we found in this episode, and we should talk about Kara in the moment, but being transparent and opening up, like when Myles got the friend request and it was somebody that he knew, that can be a little nerve-wracking. But this whole situation allowed everybody enough to open up, and it brought them closer.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on full circle moments?
No,
with these kids?
but we have this every episode. There's a full circle moment, like no matter what it is. And I just think, even when you think about Kara and like that dynamic with her dad and her mom, and you realize things were done for you a certain way to protect you, because we're humans and we make errors, and there is no one right way about going about something. But like I said, it goes back to intention. What was your intention in trying to keep someone away from you? Was it to help you? Was it to protect you? Was it to hurt you? And oftentimes actions can have negative consequences where, you know, you have the best of intentions, but it doesn't end up the way you do. But as long as you communicate why you did what you did, that's a completely different story. So I feel like that was a full circle moment for Kara. It's like knowing how all of this came together and how there's a second chance at having a mom. And it's just, it kind of goes into that realm of spirituality. Like there's forgiveness and there's second chances. As long as your intentions are pure and you're learning and you're growing, God is merciful. God is not this, of course, like a lot of us believe God is all powerful, but he's not this evil being that's going to just punish you without giving you a second chance to redeem yourself, because he's the only one who knows what's truly in your heart and what your intentions are. So I don't know. I thought that was a beautiful full circle moment in this episode specifically.
It was just so much humanizing.
Yes.
Because just the same way I was talking about Myles looking at Terrence as the superhero, that's how she was looking at her father. And I love when I was able to, that moment when I click with my mom and I look at her as my homegirl. No disrespect, because my mother is always going to be my mother. But when I was like, girl, you are just young trying to figure it out like me. Like, how you have me at 25? I'm 26. I can't do it. You know? I love that she was able, and I love that her mom checked her as well. She said, you're being ridiculous. And she was like, take a second. You know, like, if you was in his shoes, what would you do?
Word.
So I love that they humanized everybody. Like, stop putting everybody on this pedestal. We are all humans trying to figure this thing out.
I loved that so much. So that was really good, because these were like one of the big full circles. We're talking about from childhood to adulthood, and I just love how they put that together. So that was really touching and amazing. Let's get into this special segment. Bum, bum, bum.
Ooh, yay.
We got our
I
God
love
speaks.
I love it.
We got a cute.
There it is. Angelic.
Yes. I love it. Look at you guys.
So this is a segment where we found something on Twitter or Instagram that was inspiring, and God maybe not be speaking to us via Facebook like he is on God Friended Me, but there are moments where we read and see things and we're like, oh, it touches our intuition, our inner parts, where we're like, okay, that word was for me. And so here was something that I saw that was really great from Dylan Madden. Remain grateful for how far you've come. You're no longer the person who's only just begun.
Wow.
So I really think that's for the people who think what they're doing is not good enough, they're not far enough, they don't have this, they don't have that. Remember, you're so much farther than where you started, and I know that blessed me when I read it. So that was definitely a way that God speaks, and we want to give it a shout out to the fans. You fans of God Friended Me have been amazing, and we love reading your comments. So just Kimmy, in the midst of a chaotic world, it's so refreshing to have a show like God Friended Me to encourage me in spite of it all. Thank you for this show. May its lessons live forever. And that's powerful. That's something that you want to say about your body of work, a TV show.
Any project.
Yeah. What did you guys think about not only the quote, but the comments? What do you think?
I mean, mine is just overall I've never, for any of the shows I've done or any of shows I just like and I follow any of their Twitters, I've never seen anything so inspiring. Like this show, I pray that at the end of the day, their work is done. You know what I'm saying? If you already planted your seed, what's going to be is going to be, but I hope the best, because it's so amazing, the positivity and the seeds they have planted in all of us.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I just love how universal the show is. It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get something out of it because it reaches everybody. And it can be cheesy, and I know that it does have that element, but but there's something about that I love, because it still pulls at your heartstrings. Like, even though it can be cheesy, there's this profound message always at the end of it, because sometimes it's the simplest of messages that makes the greatest impact. And we saw that with how the dad responded to the fake it till you make it comment. Like, oh, that was the advice? That's so cliche, that's so cheesy. But honestly, sometimes that's all you can really do. You have to assume the role, and then eventually you'll start feeling like that person. Wow.
I absolutely agree. So before we breeze on out of here, what do we think about predictions? What's going to happen next episode? I know one of you guys mentioned the cute little DJ that we saw in the last class that, Myles had, and we see Kara with her parents. There's all kinds of things going on. These predictions.
What you got to say, Fred?
So, you know, I'm getting all the updates, all the gossip on the Twitter right now. So I'm thinking Rakesh is gonna be in a love triangle real soon. Because I saw some googly eyes between him and MIT Dakota. Because him and her speak a certain language that he doesn't speak with his long distance boo. So we gonna see what's gonna happen.
That's his long distance boo, but not his long distance relationship. So,
and we know
like
Jai
I
is
said,
out
the
there
plot
dating.
thickens. My prediction is love triangle.
cause she be like, I don't believe in titles.
Yeah.
That part until somebody else come in the picture, then they want to be like, "Well, you my girl." Wait, what?
Oh, okay.
You wasn't saying that last week.
What do you think, Mina?
I really want to see what happens with the DJ and Myles. Like that, I thought that was so cute. As much as I love Kara and him, I really like the DJ because just that whole thing that happened, I was like, this is so cute. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it.
I feel like the show is gonna pull a Ross and Rachel. Like they're gonna keep having them dating other people.
Yeah.
When
Through
we know we
seasons.
want them to be together, and then
seasons,
they're gonna end up
yeah.
together in the end.
That's cool.
Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like that could happen.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, we love it. I agree with all of it. It sounds good to me. So I'm going to just be hanging on to my seat just like you. So we sure hope you guys tune in for the 18th for the episode 8, which is Matthew 6:21. Can't wait to see what that's all about when it comes to God Friend of Me. So tune in. Check us out next week because we'll be here to talk. If you want to leave any comments or anything under this video, please do. We would love to respond, check in with you, see how you're feeling, how you're receiving the show, and everything of that nature. But for now, we want you to enjoy the rest of your magical 11/11 Sunday, if you will. And yeah, we're going to bounce. So I'm your host, Jaimi Alexander, and you can find me on Instagram at Jaimi Alexander.
Hey everyone, I'm Mina Wahab. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Mina Makes Magic, or just check out my website, minamakesmagic.com.
Yes, I'm Rochelle Potter, and you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff at Roach Baby. That is ROACHBAYBEE.
Hey y'all, your favorite Afro Latina, Franceli here. You can hang out with me at all the things at Celly Hangouts.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.